Okay, class, we are going to discuss the biology of class 9, chapter number 5, the fundamental unit of life. In this chapter, we have to discuss about the discovery of cell, features common to all cell, eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells, animal and plant cell, and in last structure of cell. So first we have to going to start with discovery of cell. In 1665, one English psychist, Robert Hooke, looked at a slice of cork through a microscopic lens and noticed some pockets in it. Robert Hooke believed these pores had served as containers for the plant juice. He called these pores as cells, meaning little rooms. Cell is a Latin word also for little room. This may seem to be a very small and insignificant incident, but it is very important in the history of science. This is very important in the history of science. This was the very first time that someone had observed that living things appear to consist of separate units. The use of the word cell to describe these units is being used till this day in biology. Let us find about cell. What are living organisms made up of? Let us take a small piece from an onion bulb. With the help of pair of forceps, we can peel off the skin called epidermis from the concave side inner layer of the onion. The layer can be put immediately in a watch glass containing water. This will prevent the peel from getting folded or getting dry. What do we with this? Let us take a glass slide, put a drop of water on it and transfer a small piece of the peel from the watch glass to the slide. Make sure that the peel is perfectly flat on the slide. A thin camel hair paintbrush might be necessary to help transfer the peel. Now we put a drop of safranin solution on this piece, followed by a cover slip. Take care to avoid air bubbles while putting the cover slip with the help of a mounting needles. We have prepared a temporary mount of onion peel. We can observe this slide under low mic power followed by high power of a compound microscope. What do we see observe? As we look through the lens, can we draw the structure that we are able to see through the microscope on an observation sheet? Does it look like something figure 5.2? So after preparing temporary mounts of peels of onion of different size, what do we observe? Do we see similar structure or different structure? So our next point is, what are these structures? These structures look similar to each other. Together, they form a big structure like an onion bulb. We find from this activity that onion bulb of different size have similar structure visible under a microscope. The cells of the onion peel will all look the same regardless of the size of the onion they come from. These small structures that we see are the basic building units of the onion bulb. These structures are called cells. Not only onions, but all organisms that we observe around are made up of cells. However, There are also single cells that live on their own. The invention of magnifying lens led to the discovery of the microscopic world. It is now known that a single cell may constitute a whole organism as in amoeba, chlamydomonas, paramecium and bacteria. These organisms are called unicellular organisms. Uni means single. On the other hand, many cells group together in a single body and assume different function in it to form various body parts in multicellular organism. Multi means many, such as some fungi, plants, and animals. Can we find out names of some more unicellular organisms? Every multicellular organism has come from a single cell. How? Because cells divide to produce cells of their own kind. All cells thus come from pre-existing cells. Some organisms can also have cells of different kinds. Look at the following picture. It depicts some cell from the human body. Likewise, smooth muscle cells, blood cells, nerve cells, fat cells, bone cells, sperm and ovum. Shape and size of cells are related to the specific function they perform. Some cells like amoeba have changing shape. In some cases, the cell shapes could be more or less fixed and peculiar for a particular type of cells. For example, nerve cells have a typical shape. Each living cells has the capacity to perform living cells have a capacity to perform certain basic functions that are characteristic of all living forms. How does a living cell perform these basic functions? We know that there is a division of labor in multicellular organisms, such as human beings. This means that different parts of the human body perform different function. The human body has a heart to pump blood, a stomach to digest food, and so on. Similarly, division of labor is also seen within a single cell. In fact, each such cell has got certain specific components within it known as cell organelles. Each kind of cell organelles perform a specific function, such as making new material in the cell, clearing up the waste material from the cell, and so on. A cell is able to live and perform all its function because of these organelles. These organelles together constitute the basic unit called the cell. It is interesting that all cells are found to have the same organelles no matter what their function is or what organism they are found in. So next, what is cell made up of? What is the structural organization of a cell? We saw above that the cell has special components called organelles. How is a cell organized? If we study a cell under a microscope, we would come across three features in almost every cell. Likewise, plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. All activities inside the cell and interaction of the cell with its environment are possible due to these features. Let us see how. So first we are going to discuss about the plasma membrane or cell membrane. This is the outermost covering of the cell that separate the contents of the cell from its external environment. The plasma membrane allow or permit the entry and exit of some material in and out of the cell. It also prevents movement of the some other material. The cell membrane therefore is called a selectively permeable membrane. How does the movement of substance take place into the cell? How do substance move out of the cell? So some substance like carbon dioxide or oxygen can move across the cell membrane by a process called diffusion. We have studied the process of diffusion in earlier chapters. We saw that there is spontaneous movement of a substance from a region of high concentration to a region where its concentration is low. Something similar to this happens in cells when, for example, some substance like carbon dioxide, which is cellular waste and requires to be exerted out by cell, accumulates in high concentration inside the cell. In the cell's external environment, the concentration of carbon dioxide is low as compared to that inside the cell. As soon as there is a difference of concentration of carbon dioxide inside and outside of a cell, carbon dioxide move out of the cell from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration outside of the cell by the process of diffusion. Similarly, oxygen enters the cell by the process of diffusion when the levels or concentration of oxygen inside the cell decrease. Thus, diffusion play an important role in gaseous exchange between the cell as well as the cell and its external environment. Water also obeys that law of diffusion. The movement of water molecule through such a selectively permeable membrane is called osmosis. So, what is osmosis? The movement of water across the plasma membrane is also affected by the amount of substance dissolved in water. Thus, osmosis is the passage of water from a region of high water concentration through a selectively permeable membrane to a region of low water concentration till equilibrium is reached. What will happen if we put an animal cell or plant cell into a solution of sugar or salt in water? Then one of the activities we are going to discuss here in point first, if the medium surrounding the cell has a high water concentration, then cell, meaning that the outside solution is very dilute, the cell will gain water by osmosis. Such a solution is known as hypotonic solution. Water molecules are free to pass across the cell membrane in both directions, but more water will come into the cell than will leave. The net result is that water enters the cell is likely to swell up. Second point, if the medium has exactly the same water concentration as the cell, there will be no net movement of water across the cell membrane. Such a solution is known as an isotonic solution. In this condition, water crosses the cell membrane in both directions, but the amount going in the same as the amount going out, so there is no overall movement of water. The cell will stay the same size. Next condition, if the medium has lower concentration of water than the cell, meaning that it is a very concentrated solution. The cell will lose water by osmosis. Such a solution is known as a hypertonic solution. Again, water crosses the cell membrane in both directions, but this time more water leaves the cell than enters it. Therefore, the cell will shrink. Thus, osmosis is a special case of diffusion through a selectively permeable membrane. Now, let us try out the following activity. And about this activity, we have to discuss inside the class. It is very good for us. Let us forward. Unicellular freshwater organisms and most plant cells tend to gain water through osmosis. Absorption of water by plant roots is also an example of osmosis. Thus, diffusion is important to exchange of gases and water in the life of a cell. In addition to this, the cell also obtains nutrition from its environment. Different molecules move in and out of the cell through a type of transport requiring use of energy. The plasma membrane is flexible and is made up of organic molecules called lipids and proteins. However, we can observe the structure of the plasma membrane only through an electron microscope. The flexibility of the cell membrane also enables the cell to engulf in food and other material from its external environment. Such processes are known as endocytosis. Amoeba acquires its food through such process. The nucleus has a double layered covering called nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane has pores which allow the transfer of material from inside the nucleus to its outside, that is, to the cytoplasm, which we will talk about in section 5.4. The nucleus contains chromosomes which are visible and rod-shaped structure only when the cell is about to divide. Chromosome contains information for inheritance of character from parents to next generation in the form of DNA molecules. What is the full form of DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. Chromosomes are composed of DNA and protein. DNA molecules contain the information necessary for constructing and organizing cells. Functional segments of DNA are called genes. In a cell which is not dividing, this DNA is present as part of chromatin material. Chromatin material is visible as entangled mass of thread-like structure. Whenever the cell is about to divide, the chromatin material gets organized into chromosome. The nucleus plays a central role in cellular reproduction. The process by which a single cell divides and forms two new cells, it also plays a crucial part, along with the environment, in determining the way the cell will develop and what form it will exhibit at maturity by directing the chemical activities of the cell. In some organisms like bacteria, the nuclear region of the cell may be poorly defined due to the absence of a nuclear membrane. Such an undefined nuclear region containing only nucleic acid is called a nucleoid. Such organisms whose cells lack a nuclear membrane are called prokaryotes. Pro means primitive or primary, and karyotes means karyons or nucleus. Organisms with cell having a nuclear membrane, all called eukaryotes. So, what is the difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes? Prokaryotes are those who not having a primitive nuclear membrane, and eukaryotes are those who having a primitive nuclear membrane. Prokaryote cells also lack most of other cytoplasmic organelles present in eukaryotes. Many of the function of such organelles are also performed by poorly organized part of the cytoplasm. The chlorophyll in photosynthetic prokaryotic bacteria is associated with membranous vesicles or bag-like structure, but not with plastids as in eukaryotic cells. When we look at the temporary mount of onion peel as well as human cheek cell, we can see a large region of each cell enclosed by the cell membrane. This region takes up very little stain. It is called the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is the fluid content inside the plasma membrane. It also contains many specialized cell organelles. Each of these organelles perform a specific function for the cells. Cell organelles are enclosed by membranes. In prokaryotes, beside the absence of defined nuclear region, the membrane bound cell organelles are also absent. On the other hand, the eukaryotic cells have nuclear membrane as well as membrane enclosed organelles. The significance of membranes can be illustrated with the example of viruses. Viruses lack any membrane and hence do not show characteristic of life until they enter a living body and use its cell machinery to multiply. Important cell organelles are that we are going to discuss. Cell organelles. Every cell has a membrane around it to keep its own contents separate from the external environment. Large and complex cell, including cell from multicellular organism, need a lot of chemical activities to support their complicated structure and function. To keep these activities of different kinds separate from each other, these cells use membrane bound little structure for organelles within themselves. This is one of the feature of the eukaryotic cell that distinguishes them from prokaryotic cell. Some of these organelles are visible only with an electron microscope. We have talked about the nucleus in a previous section. Some important example of cell organelles which we will discuss now are endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosome, mitochondria and plastids. They are important because they are carry out some very crucial function in cell. Endoplasmic reticulums. The endoplasmic reticulums is a large network of membrane bound tubes and sheets. It looks like long tubules or round or oblong bags. The endoplasmic reticulum's membrane is similar in structure to the plasma membrane. There are two types of endoplasmic reticulums: rough endoplasmic reticulums, that is the RER, and smooth endoplasmic reticulums, that is the SER. RER looks rough under a microscope because it has particles called ribosome attached to its surface. The ribosome, which are present in all active cells, are the sites of protein manufacture. The manufactured protein are then sent to various places in the cell depending on need using the endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulums help in the manufacture of fat molecules or lipid important for cell function. Some of these proteins or lipid help in building the cell's membrane. This process is known as the membrane biogenesis. Once again I repeated here. The smooth endoplasmic reticulums help in the manufacture of fat molecules or lipid important for cell function. Some of these protein and lipids help in the building of cell membrane, and this process is known as the membrane biogenesis. Some other proteins and lipid function as enzyme and hormones. Although the endoplasmic reticulum varies greatly in appearance in different cells, it always forms a network system. As you see in figure 5.5 in animal cell. Thus, one function of endoplasmic reticulum is to serve as channels for the transport of materials between various regions of the cytoplasm or between the cytoplasm and the nucleus. The endoplasmic reticulums also function as a cytoplasmic network, providing a surface for some of the biochemical activities of the cell. In the liver cells, group of animal cells called vertebrates, smooth endoplasmic reticulums play a crucial role in the detoxifying many poisonous and drugs. For some of the biochemical activities of the cell, in the liver cell of the group of animals called vertebrates, we will discuss it about in chapter number 7. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum play a crucial role in detoxifying many poisonous and drugs. Next, important cell organelles we are going to discuss about the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus, first described by Camillo Golgi, consists of a system of membrane-bound vesicles, flattened sac, arranged approximately parallel to each other. It stacks called cisternae. These membranes often have connection with the membranes of endoplasmic reticulum and therefore constitute another portion of a complex cellular membrane system. The material synthesized near the endoplasmic reticulum is packaged and dispatched to various targets inside and outside to the cell through a Golgi apparatus. Its function include the storage of modification and packaging of products in vesicles. In some cases, complex sugar may be made from simple sugar in the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus is also involved in the formation of lysosome. And next organelles are the lysosome. Structurally, lysosome are membrane-bound sac filled with digestive enzymes. These enzymes are made by rough endoplasmic reticulum. Lysosomes are a kind of waste disposal system of the cell. These help to keep the cell clean by digesting any foreign material as well as worn out cell organelles. Foreign materials entering the cell such as bacteria or food as well as old organelles end up in the lysosome, which break complex substance into simpler substance. Lysosomes are able to do this because they contain powerful digestive enzymes capable of. And next, most important cell organelles of the plant and animal cell are mitochondria. Mitochondria are known as the powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria have two membrane covering. The outer membrane is porous while the inner membrane is deeply folded. These folds increase surface area for ATP generating chemical reaction. The energy required for various chemical activities needed for life is released by mitochondria in the form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate molecule. ATP is known as the energy currency of the cell. The body uses energy stored in ATP for making new chemical compound and for mechanical work. Mitochondria are strange organelles in the sense that they have their own DNA and ribosome. Therefore, mitochondria are able to make some of their own proteins. And we can say that mitochondria are a complete organelles. Next one, plastids. Plastids are present only in plant cell. There are two types of plastids: chromoplast, that is color plastids, and leucoplast, that is white color plastids. Chromoplast containing the pigment chlorophyll are known as chloroplast, and chloroplast are important for photosynthesis in plant. Chloroplast also contain various yellow or orange pigments in addition to chlorophyll. Leucoplasts are primarily organelles in which materials such as starch, oils, and protein granules are stored. The internal organization of the chloroplast consists of numerous membrane layers embedded in a material called stroma. These are similar to mitochondria in external structure. Like the mitochondria, plastids also have their own DNA and ribosome. And next, most important cell organelles is vacuoles. So vacuoles are storage sac for solid or liquid contents. Vacuoles are small in size in animal cells, while plant cells have very large vacuoles. The central vacuoles of some plant cell may occupy 50 to 90% of the cell volume. In plant cell, vacuoles are full of cell shape and provide turgidity and rigidity to the cell. Many substances of importance in the life of the plant cell are stored in vacuoles. These includes amino acids, sugars, various organic acid, and some proteins. In single cell organisms like amoeba, the food vacuole contains the food item that the amoeba has consumed. In some unicellular organisms, specialized vacuoles also play important role in expelling excess water and some waste from the soil. Each cell thus acquires its structure and ability to function because of the organization of its membrane and organelles in specific ways. The cell thus has a basic structural organization. This helps the cell to perform function like respiration, obtaining nutrition, and clearing of waste material or forming new proteins. Thus, the cell is a fundamental structural unit of living organism. It is also the basic functional unit of life. And next topic that we are going to discuss about the cell division. New cells are formed in organisms in order to grow, to replace old, dead and injured cell, and to form gametes required for reproduction. The process by which new cells are made is called cell division. There are two main types of cell division: mitosis and meiosis. The process of cell division by which most of the cells divide for growth is called mitosis. In this process, each cell called mother cell. So each cell called mother cell divides to form two identical daughter cell. The daughter cell have the same number of chromosomes as mother cell. It helps in growth and repair of tissue in organism. A specific cell for reproductive organs or tissue in animals and plants divide to form gametes, which after fertilization give rise to offspring. They divide by a different process called meiosis, which involve two consecutive division. When a cell divides by meiosis, it produces four new cells instead of just two. The new cells only have half the number of chromosomes than that of the mother cell. Can you think as to why the chromosome number has reduced to half in daughter cell? In this way, this chapter is going to be finished, and we have put it one home assignment also, so you need to be open that and do that and submit it. Thank you very much.